Hello everyone and welcome to Tea and Hot Sauce, the show with myself, Chloe and Orlando. We are going to be doing some market analysis for you. So without further ado, I'm going to continue talking about something that I was talking about yesterday with you guys, which is gold. And I know Orlando had a pretty similar view to me on gold as well. Now, what we were looking at yesterday was we were looking at the fact that gold has broken down south through the consolidation pattern, through this symmetrical triangle pattern here. Now, I know it's not a particularly clean symmetrical triangle pattern, which is why I also, let me just remove that one. That's why I also have this horizontal level of support here along these lows, which it was important for me to get price below that level as well. So after the breakout here, a couple of opportunities to trade short, but this horizontal level here was a block in the way of price potentially getting further down. And that was the level I was really looking at yesterday. So and just to point out as well, the level below that is this previous low here. So this, the bottom of the spike. And also to point out that these levels do correspond with levels on the monthly and weekly charts, this previous high from all the way back in 2011, for example. So the reason I'm interested in this is there isn't an awful lot of support beneath price. We've got this level from 2011. We've got this level here as well. I'm going to look at that on the weekly, actually. It'll be a little bit cleaner. So those are the next two levels of potential support, which means that if we can get into short trades, then there are potential high reward to risk opportunities all the way down to this level here. So with that having been said, here is the horizontal level here that we were looking at. That has been broken, retested, opportunities to trade here. I was chatting with Jeff about this as well this morning. There is a high test bar here right off this horizontal level, which could have been tradable, and a bearish bar here, which also could have been tradable. Since then, we have now had a pullback, and if we just put in this previous low level here, price has pulled back, tested that level again, and is currently printing a bearish bar just here. So I'm very interested in trading this short. Now, what I don't really want to happen is I don't really want this bar to get too big right now. We've still got just over 10 minutes to go of this bar before it closes. And I don't really want it to get too much bigger because that will affect my reward to risk. But we'll see how that goes over the next 10 minutes. And it may be that I place a short entry here. There was no setup on according to my strategy on any lower time frame there. So it is the hourly that I have to stick to at the moment. We'll just wait and see what happens there. I believe that we have been joined by Orlando. Oh no, perhaps not. It's just me. I don't think Orlando is in the room yet. I was just going to ask him his opinion on this gold, because I know that he had an opinion on gold yesterday, and always nice to share an opinion and have someone agree. But for me, this is just something that I'm going to have to wait until the top of the hour and see whether the entry presents itself here on gold. But if it does, then my next level of support is just down here. So there's a reasonable reward to risk. And if price gets through there, then there is actually quite a long way now until really the next level of major support down here. And that's why I'm interested in trading short. Now, there's no guarantee that price will get down to that level, but there's no guarantee that price will get down to that level. But if it does, then that would be a pretty decent reward to risk opportunity. And of course, we'll just have to take the trading opportunities as they arise and see how far we can run them. Obviously, I'd be looking at scaling out along the way according to my strategy and looking out for horizontal levels of support in the way of the trade getting down to that further level. So that is my overview of gold, looking for shorts at the moment on gold. The other things that I was looking at yesterday, which I'll revisit, the NASDAQ. Well, I was looking at the NASDAQ to the upside because of this head and shoulders pattern, which broke. Now, again, it's a pretty messy pattern. It hasn't actually worked out that price broke through this neckline and retested it exactly, but it certainly still has kept the series of higher lows and higher highs. So we have got higher lows, higher highs, price continuing to make higher highs. It's broken above this horizontal level here as well. It's just pulling back at the moment. And what I need to see is another higher low. If another higher low forms and a bullish candle here, then I will be looking for further opportunity to the upside there on the NASDAQ. If we just go up to the daily time frame here, obviously I have to be cautious about this because I've got a fairly reasonable horizontal level here. I say fairly reasonable. We don't have an awful lot of price action to go on. I certainly can't flick back to the monthly time frame and see any historical price action around these levels. But all I've got to go on is the fact that it formed a high at this point. It then turned into support as price broke through and then retested. It has, if we go to the lower time frames, it has been very minor resistance and support since then. So that's the level that I would be concerned about if I was trading up into that level, which is why I need a decent reward to risk before trading up into that level. If price can break back above that level, then hopefully that will lead to long opportunities. Let me just I'm just getting messages from Orlando, so Orlando.
Hello, Chloe. How are you?
Oh, hey, Orlando. Here he is.
Finally, yeah, I wasn't able to join with the normal links.
Don't know why that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Just a glitch. Never mind, you're here now. I wanted to go back to gold actually. I was just talking about the NASDAQ and the fact that that's still heading upwards after our discussion yesterday. And so I'm still looking for longs, but this horizontal level here is the one that I've got in my mind, because if we look at the daily, that just was a bit of a resistance point over here and a support point over here. It's been smashed through over here, but it's just something that I've got in my mind, and especially because of the fact that on the daily time frame, we actually do still have this lower high and lower low. So the potential to form another lower high at this point is real. It may potentially form another lower high and continue downwards. So that's why this is pretty much a limit to my long trading in terms of finding opportunity, in terms of having a decent reward to risk up to that opportunity. It may be that price turns around at this point here, in which case we're really back inside of a range on this hourly time frame, and I probably won't be interested in that. While again, if we look at this daily, if we get stuck in a range in this area here, I'm not really in an awful hurry to trade this. It would only be if we get back below this level then that I would be looking to trade short on the NASDAQ. So right now we're in a bit of a sticky zone.
Yeah, we are.
if we get above this level here, I definitely would want to be looking for longs. If we get below, I definitely want to be looking for shorts. While we are in this zone, I do see the potential for maybe one more push to the upside. But as things stand right now, it's actually looking pretty bearish on this hours bar. And this hours bar is going to close in 5 minutes. So unless that turns around into a less bearish bar, probably unlikely I'm going to pick up a long trade from that. So that was one of the things I wanted to chat about, Orlando. And then the other thing I was chatting about was gold.
Yeah.
And wondering on your thoughts on that. So why don't I hand over to you and you can
All right.
give
Let
your
me
thoughts on those. And anything else that you're looking at, obviously.
yeah,
You might
for
have
sure.
something even more interesting.
Okay. Actually, I was looking at gold at these levels. Just let me share my screen. All right. Here we go. Share. And gold and silver, actually, both at this level. Let's start with silver. And well, I was looking yesterday evening at silver right here when it was trading at around the 24.37, right? And it looked like it was creating a continuation pattern, and if and eventually broke to the downside, right? Well, I was looking at this 4-hour bar right here, this indecision bar at the bottom of that range, right? I'm not looking to pick up metals at these lows. To me, that would be a little bit too speculative in the sense that the DXY just broke with the 94 level and is retesting it at the moment. So that long or that scenario that we were talking about yesterday on US dollar longs is actually playing out, right? If we break with the highs, with today highs, we could get a continuation today, a rally, a bullish continuation today towards that um, very structure that we are trading in. And if we manage to break that very structure, we could in fact be going higher to test these previous base, which is the zone that we've been discussing, or that I've been discussing about, where I will be looking to big sales in the US dollar. But in any case, I was looking at metals right here, and the cool thing about this is that there's a ton of opportunities to short metals in the short term. I am not a day trader myself, but if we look at gold, where is gold? If we look at gold, it has been respecting some previously broken levels. Right here, I retested this previous low. I mean, it broke with the level, retested the previous low, and now it's moving down. But to really get in on a short position in gold, um, again, I would prefer gold to go higher. Um, Preferably to that 132 that we were talking about yesterday. And if we go to the daily in gold again, I see that 1864, 1867 level, which is this previous low, this candle's week low, as a possible target for shorts. But if we look at how gold is trading on the daily, it is still pretty weaky, right? In my opinion, um, pretty hard to get in on a short unless we get somewhat of well, the scenario that I think might play out is gold hitting these lows and a possible reversal towards these lows. Now, if we get back to these lows, but it need to be in order for me to trade it, it needs to be like a clean move to the upside, like this, right? First to the downside and a couple of candles to the upside, in order for me to trade this market short from these lows. For the time being, I really don't see any setup at all. And you were talking about the Nasdaq too, and I was looking at this right here. Um, After we broke with these highs, we just broke with this previous level of resistance too. And I completely agree with you about this hourly candle looking very, very bearish. And since I'm long, well, I've been scaling in my or moving my stop losses above each and every single higher low, just because I want to protect myself and just because we are coming from a very bearish move right here. And because, as you said, we printed a lower low right here. So it's plausible that this move that I'm trading to the upside, in fact, is just a pullback like this one right here before the next move to the downside. So I really want to protect myself from that, right? But having said that, um, if we if we trade below these lows, no, if we trade, I'm sorry, if we continue to trade above these lows, the possibility for us to be retesting these highs, I would consider it very high, right? In any case, this looks extremely bearish right now. That hourly candle closed very bearish, and it closed my below this. Below the bullish continuation level that I had on my charts. And right now it looks like we are trading nowhere, but we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the New York session will open shortly, and we might get some bulls into the market. I don't know. Since this is the Nasdaq, Chloe, I haven't looked at the heat map just yet, but why don't we go ahead and look for it, right? The heat map. The technology sector of the S&P 500 looking very, very bullish right now on the pre-market. And why don't we go ahead and look at the full technology sector. I mean, it's looking pretty bullish pre-market, right? So this might, I mean, this pullback on the Nasdaq might just be a pullback since we are looking so much green in technology sector at the moment. I don't know your thoughts about that, but this is obviously short term because this is today's session, right? Let's see what happens. But again, because we printed this low, we need to be careful, or bulls right now need to be careful to respect the break of the immediate structure, um, since the overall structure is completely bearish at the moment and will be until we break with these highs. Now, if we break with these highs, and that is a big if because we are kind of far away from this, we are about 3% away from those highs. And but if the Nasdaq continues to grind higher and we break with these highs, now the bearish structure that we are currently trading in will be broken, and we will start a new structure, which will be a bullish structure. But that is a big if, right? Because we are very, very far away from that to happen, and we are trading below this massive level um, right now. So heads up to that if you're long the Nasdaq. But to me, that is absolutely everything that I'm looking at the moment, Chloe. Uh, there's absolutely nothing else that I'm looking at. Also, the other thing that I'm looking at, I'm sorry, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
All right. The other thing that I'm looking at is the pound yen. I think we discussed that yesterday, and it's kind. I mean, and the thing is that I do like the pound yen to pick up longs right here at this level. Let me just get rid of these lines because of this. we are trading right here at this previous level. Okay, it's not as clear as a level that I would want it to be, but here is where buyers jump into the market, and right here you can see that sellers were protecting this level. And after we broke to the upside, here is where the market really rallied for about let's have a look, for about 1,000 pips. All right. So we are trading at this level at the moment. And with the US dollar, right, rallying above the 94 level, that would have that is going to have a lot of pressure to the Japanese yen, which will make for Japanese yen pairs to rally, right? The thing is that this is against the British pound. This is the only thing that I don't really like about this play that I'm currently that we can currently have in front of our eyes. But this is a level that we should be watching, in my opinion. Just because I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we finished a five wave. Um, move into some very strong bearish targets right here. So that's one of the reasons that I'm looking at a possible reversal, maybe short-term reversal on the pound versus the yen. Um, at the moment, I'm sorry. Yep, and that is exactly what I'm looking at.
Good stuff, Orlando. And the other thing to point out, back to what you were saying about the NASDAQ, you were looking at those levels and saying, well, we're a long way off those levels. But that's exactly what we're doing here, isn't it? Is market analysis and finding levels so that if price gets to those levels, then we're prepared. Then we know exactly what we want to do in response to price getting to those levels that we already had a look at. It removes the emotion from trading, or helps to remove the emotion from trading if we really get prepared with these things in advance. So even though you might look at a chart and say, oh, that's way off, I'm going to move on, well, it's still always worth really making the effort to note down what your analysis is on those charts and what you need to see before it becomes appropriate to trade again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to point out, I guess, was Aussie dollar. Let me just grab the screen again, and just one more thing to look at, which is Aussie dollar. Now, those of you who've been listening to us for a few weeks will know that I have been bullish on all the Aussie pairs, and that's while the uptrend has continued. We pointed out yesterday, I think, that uptrend is no longer valid. We've got this lower high here, and we now have price having broken beneath this low. So we've now got lower high and lower low. End of the uptrend. That is the end of the story for me. I often find myself trading trends for longer than other people. And the simple reason for that is because I will trade the trends until they end. So I will trade this long until I see the end of the trend, which for me is a lower high and a lower low. And that's what I see here, which means I no longer have an uptrend. It doesn't necessarily automatically make me start trading short. However, what I do notice here is that the next major level of support down here, if we just take a look at where that level has come from, that's a major level of what has been support and resistance over here. That's a little way off in terms of trading on an intraday time frame. That's a little way off. So it may be possible to pick up short trades now. There is some other little minor support along the way here, but nothing that concerns me too much. So I'm definitely interested in trading Aussie dollar to the downside at the moment. all I need to do is really is wait for the right setup. Let me just have another look here. And that's that major previous low. There's the major level there. I'm not really too concerned about any levels in between that, to be honest with you. So basically price heading down from where it has started just here. Any pullback and set up according to my strategy to the downside, I will be willing to take, and I'll be heading down to this level here around 70.33 or thereabouts. So that is Aussie dollar short as well. That's the other thing that I'm potentially looking out for. So I suppose my priorities for today are gold. I'm still looking at gold to the downside, potentially, and Aussie dollar to the downside. Those are the two things that I'm prioritizing. There are other crosses as well, you know, other Aussie crosses that are interesting, other Kiwi crosses that are interesting as well, especially the crosses with the yen pairs. So those are the things that I'm keeping an eye out. It's just one of those things, Orlando. I don't know whether you find this with your trading, but sometimes I find a hell of a lot of setups, almost to the point where it's difficult to keep up with what I'm trading.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes as a trend trader, there are times when the trends either just aren't there, or things have started to range, or the trends are changing, or you know, periods of time when I just have to take a little step back. And it's not about trying to force your way into trades that aren't there. So I'm not going to go hunting across all the currency pairs to try and find a trade to take. All I'm doing is continuing with my market analysis, and if I see something interesting that I get a clear guide as to which direction it's going, then that's the thing that I'll keep an eye on.
Yeah, and
And I'm
you said it. You said it very clearly, and I heard it out loud. A couple of sessions ago, that you're fine with not taking a trade one day if you're not seeing a clear setup that is composed by the rules of your own strategy, right? And that is absolutely uh, the way to think, or the way to see this uh, what we do here, right? And the thing is that one of the things that I believe is the most one of the most important things I believe that we must be focused on every time we sit in front of our charts is just to, like you just said, not to keep pushing for setups. And because I mean, if you keep looking at your chart, you are going to eventually find something, and you are going to um, convince yourself that this is worth trading, etc., right? Which is a bad thing in my opinion. But again, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, I can go through a whole day without taking a trade. I can sometimes be happily go through a whole week or even longer without taking a trade, because I find that works much better for me. I find it quite stressful sitting in front of my computer and not finding any trades according to my setup, and feeling the pressure of, oh goodness me, you know, sometimes I'll think, well, everyone else seems to be trading. Ash is trading today, and Jeff's been trading today. Why can't I find any trades? And that's really not what trading is about. What Ash trades really works well for him. What Jeff trades works spectacularly well for him. But what I trade works well for me. And if I have to stick out of trades for a day or even a week or two, waiting for the right trade to come along, then that's absolutely what I should do. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
it's about coming, once you come to terms with that, I think, as a trader, then you can really start settling into your own style of trading and your own comfort zone.
Yeah,
Um,
and the thing is that also, Chloe, if you keep pushing for trades that are not there, but you take them anyways, you're going to be taking small losses here and there. And you know what? One of the things that I always say is that the smallest leak sink the biggest ships, right? And to me,
Absolutely.
yeah, and to me, taking those little trades are leaks in your game. Why? Because taking little losses here, taking little losses there. I mean, I mean, you consider them little losses, and you might not think that they're important, but they're so important because they are going to eat up on your gains, right?
Definitely.
Without you noticing, you are going to be leaking money back into the market by taking those speculative positions, right? Or those mediocre setups. So you have to be in control of yourself when trading. And to me, that is one of the most important things. And like everybody else, I had to find it the hard way, right?
Yeah, exactly. I guess what we're trying to do is encourage people not to have to find out the
Yeah,
hard way. But if you prefer to do the hard way, then
the market is there for you.
yeah, exactly. Um, there are plenty of hard lessons to learn in the market
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely they are.
Yeah. um, so yeah, those are excuse me, got a bit of a croaky voice.
Don't worry.
Those are really the main things that I've been looking at today.
Yeah,
The
me too.
S&P, not really so much.
Yeah, the other, I mean, the other equities really are not looking um, very good to me. That says like you just talked about the S&P. The S&P 500 is right. I mean, it's exactly at or retesting exactly the previous lows. So the S&P 500 right now is in a short setup, or could be creating a short setup right now. But again, the Nasdaq has a mind of its own, so I'm really not concerned if the S&P 500 dips a little bit, uh, because I mean, technology is just super green at the moment. The other thing, I don't know if you saw the Nikkei rallying yesterday super hard. Uh, let me just see how much of a percent was it. Um, so this is the 4 hour chart. No, this is not the one that I was looking at. Yep, two. Well, in any case, it rallied really hard. But let me grab the screen for a little bit.
Go for it. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh. This one right here. I'm still looking at that heat map. But the thing that I wanted to share with you guys, it's this one right here. Okay. So the Japanese yen futures, I'm always looking at this chart, um, because I do trade the Japanese yen, right? And for example, that play that I'm looking forward on the pound yen is a Japanese yen play, not a pound play, right? Even though I could find a better market to trade a pound, that this yen short, but in any case, this zone in the yen futures is a big area of resistance and a big volume zone, right? And last week we had a big rally on the yen, but now that the US dollar is rallying really hard, we of course are going to be seeing some yen weakness, which we should be looking forward to trade. So um, I'm not gonna tell you these levels because I mean, it's too much numbers. But the thing is that if the DXY continues to rally above that 94 level that we were discussing, it's very plausible that the yen is going to weaken below these previous lows. And if it weakens below these previous lows, uh, uh, we are going to look pretty probably that the yen is going to retest this structure, the green structure that it has been retesting for a while now, since back in June, right? And but the most important thing is that level to the downside, which is the ranges support, let's call it, right? So if we start looking at some yen weakness, we should be looking trying to trade the upside of some yen pairs. And that's just the other thing that I'm been watching lately. Uh, I'm sorry. Uh, this is the other thing that I've been watching lately as a trade opportunity, right? Looking for setups on the yen, uh, because let's have a look at the U.S. dollar Japanese yen. The U.S. dollar Japanese yen is just one of those markets that they are so rangy at the moment, and I think you remember we've been discussing the U.S. dollar Japanese yen in this show a couple of times in the past, and just right now it's rallying, of course, because of the U.S. dollar. I mean, and the play that I should be looking to make here should have to be on the U.S. dollar Japanese yen, right? Because I'm talking about U.S. dollar strength and Japanese yen weakness, which should both be bullish for this currency pair in fact. But I really don't like price action in the US dollar Japanese yen. But the thing is that if this currency pair rallies above the 105.40 level, I'm going to be looking for some continuation setups right here, because at this level, at the retest of this level, is where I'm going to get a great risk to reward to trade a Japanese yen weakness. And I think we've gone way above our times, Chloe.
we have not way above, but a little bit above. So we'd better call it a day there. Thanks
Yeah,
everyone for tuning in. You guys have the preview to the US Open in about 8 minutes time, with a combination of Jeff, Ash, cryptos, all kinds of exciting things coming up in that show. So make sure you tune in for that.
I'm going
And
to be there too.
oh, you're going to be there too. Awesome stuff. And we will be back with this show same time next week, next
All right,
Tuesday and
Chloe. I'll
Wednesday.
talk to you next week.
All right. Cheers,
Have a
Orlando.
great end
Speak
of the
soon.
week and a great
You
weekend.
too.
Cheers.
Cheers. See ya.